The final season of The Legend of Korra looks to define what it means to be the Avatar. What happens when ideals break down and people are left to pick up the pieces? What is good, folks, and welcome back to the Retro View, where today we're taking a look back on Korra Book 4. And if this seems like the type of content you might like, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for more. But for now, we must get on with the show. Sage, hit that title.
I am trying to understand why this happened to me, but nothing makes any sense. A crazy man poisoned me, and now I can't dress myself, or cook for myself, or do anything for myself. And this whole time, my friends have been off helping the world while I'm stuck with you, and you can't even heal me! I'm tired, Katara. I'm so tired.
All her life, the only thing Korra ever dreamed of being was the Avatar. Even from a young age, everybody noticed her talents towards bending, and she quickly mastered all four elements. She grew confident in her abilities as the Avatar to be able to solve the world's problems and be this strong figure the world needed her to be. But she was also arrogant, unaware of how the world actually worked and just what being the Avatar truly meant. A lesson that she was about to find out had harsh consequences. Amon stripped her of her bending. Unalaq severed her connection to the previous avatars. Zahir nearly killed her. All of these being hard lessons to her that this is the responsibility of the Avatar. But all she sees is her failings. She does not see the lessons within any of this. So by the time season 4 begins, Korra is out of action. She's broken not just physically, not just spiritually, but emotionally. 3 years of isolation have left her scarred, hollow, and haunted. She sees that the world no longer needs her, the airbender stepping in to fill the void that she left behind after Zahir nearly killed her and left her in a wheelchair. She's the Avatar, but from the looks of things, the world no longer needs her. And so her depression and isolation only deepen. That sense of failure starts to feel permanent. Her friends and mentors try to support her, but their kindness doesn't fix anything. They can offer up nothing more than thoughts and prayers and unhelpful advice, when what she really needs is somebody to understand her. She ends up pushing them away, convinced that she needs to solve her own problems on her own. She needs to pull herself out of this funk. Her frustration isn't just with her situation, it's with herself. Why can't she bounce back from this? Why isn't she the Avatar she needs to be? The Avatar that she used to be? Why did any of this happen to her in the first place? Her journey eventually leads her to Toph, who agrees to train her, but also does not sugarcoat any of Korra's problems. Korra is not fixed anything. She has not been healing anything. All she's been doing is hiding. She calls Korra out. All she has been doing has been running away from her problems, from her failures, from her fear, from the reminders that she lost. In order for Korra to move past all of these mental blocks that she's put on herself, in order to move past all of this trauma and begin the process of healing, she needs to understand why this stuff happened to her in the first place, and she needs to accept that it happened. Toph reminds her that every villain she has fought has had a point. Amon wanted equality. Unalaq sought spiritual connection. Zahir believed in freedom. Even Kuvira right now stands for unity amongst her people. But all of them became extremists. They became unbalanced. And that's the purpose of the Avatar. That's Korra's real role in this world. Not to erase these ideologies, but to stand in the space between them, to bring about some kind of balance and to bring these people down, to understand where they're coming from and find solutions to these problems. The world might not need her necessarily, but it could still use that level of guidance to keep extremists like this from overtaking the world like it is currently doing. To grow beyond what has happened to her, Korra needs to find a purpose within all of this suffering. What was this all for? And in doing that, Korra begins to rebuild herself, But it's not an immediate fix. Even once Korra gets all the poison out, it's not a magical cure-all to her problems. It's realistic because that's not how trauma necessarily works. This is just the beginning steps to move past all of this. The real poison has been her emotional and mental state, the trauma she refuses to face head on. She's trapped in this victim mindset, using Zahir as an excuse for all of her problems. He ruined her. He ruined her image of strength, her life, and her self-worth. Everything. But, as Toph points out, you're just using him as an excuse because you are afraid that if you go back out there, the same thing or something worse is going to happen to you. And in order to cope with this, you need to face him. You need to get that level of closure. And so Korra sets out to face Zahir head on. Confronting him is like confronting the memory that's been haunting her this entire time. And in a strange way, it's Zahir, the man who almost killed her, that helps her to realize just how far she has come. He helps her to see that all of these mental blocks that she has been putting on herself has been due to her own mental state. All of that poison should have killed her. And yet here she is, still standing. Whether she wants to admit it or not, she is still that powerful person she always was. She is still the Avatar. No matter what she goes through, she will always be the Avatar. All these trials and tribulations have only made her stronger because she grows, learns from it, and gets back up.
I'd like to make an announcement to the world. The Earth Kingdom is no more. It's taken me 3 years to get it back on track, and there's no way I will allow it to slip back into the Dark Ages. I have created a new Earth Empire, and I will continue to lead it into the future myself, bringing about a new era of prosperity for my people. Anyone who crosses our borders or stands in our way will be crushed.
While Korra recovers, another force rises. In the ashes of the Red Lotus's revolution, Kuvira takes advantage of the power vacuum left behind by the Earth Queen's death. In unifying the fractured Earth Kingdom provinces, she becomes the face of order, establishing some form of stability amongst a chaotic continent. Her supporters see her as a savior, a great unifier, and in many ways, she is. Her people were desperate. They didn't need a monarch holding them down. They needed order, they needed stability, and Kuvira brought that. She brought safety, and not just that, she brought innovations, she brought aid, she brought reform that the Earth Kingdom had needed for centuries. And for the sake of safety and security, Kuvira took the territories of the Earth Kingdom and reorganized them into this new Earth Empire. And the people embraced that with thunderous applause, because they remembered what came before: corruption, neglect, centuries of exploitation that had left the Earth Kingdom behind by centuries in terms of industrialization. All of this caused by their incompetent monarchy and outside forces. For people abandoned by the ruling class and neglected by the world, Kuvira brought these people identity, stability, and most importantly, they brought pride back to the Earth Kingdom. But power does not stay pure. As Kuvira's support grows, so does her need for control. Her nationalism hardens, her tolerance narrows, and her belief that only she can fix the problems of the Earth Kingdom push her into authoritarianism as she begins imprisoning those who stand against her. In many ways, Kuvira's rise mirrors figures from our own history, most notably Napoleon Bonaparte.
Oh, hey fellow monarchs. I see you're having a monarch party. My invite must have got lost in the mail. I'll just set up a spot right here.
Napoleon's rise in a post-revolutionary France, a nation reeling from the fall of an outdated monarchy and riddled with political instability. Much like Kuvira, he promised order and national unity through military action. He brought about a sense of national pride, built infrastructure, reformed institutions. Both leaders offered hope through strength. Both gave their nations a new sense of purpose. But Both also built their legacies on military expansion and control, consolidating power under the promises of peace. A peace that was never guaranteed, as both saw themselves as fighting against the entire world, a world that sought to stabilize their territory and return their nations to the old status quo. Kuvira saw outside influence not as diplomacy, but as exploitation. The United Republic expected her to hand over power once the Earth Kingdom was stabilized and hand it back to the ruling family, who were now nothing more than incompetent puppets. Much like the coalition of Europe sought to re-establish the Bourbons to rule in France, to dismantle the revolution, and to keep its ideals from spreading. This created a bunker mentality, an us versus the world ideal that fed off of the Earth Kingdom's rising nationalism, just like it did in France. And that narrative, while empowering to her people, was also what made Kuvira dangerous, because nationalism unchecked doesn't just unify, it radicalizes, and Kuvira's dream of peace quickly became a machine of conquest as she sought to bring all Earth Kingdom territory under her rule. What makes this final confrontation between Korra and Kuvira so impactful isn't just the spectacle, it's the emotional weight behind it. Korra sees a lot of herself in Kuvira. They're both strong-willed people, forced by fear and a need to control the situation, both trying to keep their situations under control, but only see the world slipping further and further from their grasp. From the very beginning, Korra has struggled with this sense of control. Her entire upbringing was sheltered, supervised, and stifled, surrounded by guards isolated in the Southern Water Tribe for her own safety. The Avatar was locked away from the world that she was meant to serve and learn from. So, when she finally left home and went to Republic City, she clung to that sense of freedom, to her own agency. She resented and argued against anyone, Tenzin, her father, anybody who tried to steer her own path, because deep down, Korra equates guidance with confinement. But freedom without wisdom led her into danger, as she kept heading into problems without thinking things through. Facing Amon alone left her powerless. Trusting Unalaq ended up cutting her off from the previous avatars, and the Red Lotus nearly killed her. These weren't just enemies, they were symbols of her worst fear, being helpless. Every time she was saved, every time she lost control, her identity as this powerful avatar unraveled. Kuvira's fear of losing control was instilled in her from a young age. Her parents had abandoned her. She was left powerless and with no safety or security, until she was adopted by Suyin Beifong and raised as family. But even there, she felt like she was an outsider and not really family amongst the Beifongs. But she still grew up in Zaofu. She looked up to Suyin. She saw what her ideals could build. But she also see how easily it could be paralyzed. Suyin always reflected on the states of the Earth Kingdom, how the monarchy was an outdated system and how the ruling class were out of touch with the needs of the people. However, when the opportunity came for her to step up and attempt to help lead the Earth Kingdom into a better direction, Su refused. She chose to sit on her ivory tower at Zaofu as the only stable state in the Earth Kingdom, isolating itself from the rest of the continent as it falls further and further into chaos. And to Kuvira, this felt like a betrayal. She saw Su as a hypocrite, someone who preached about progress, but when the chips were on the table and when it mattered most, she stood silent, the good person doing nothing, which leads Kuvira to take control for herself, not out of ambition, but out of necessity. If nobody was going to step up for her people, she'll do it herself. She would not allow herself or her people to be powerless ever again. Both Korra and Kuvira equated strength with control. They presented themselves as unbreakable, refusing help, hiding weaknesses, leading through force. Korra wears her strength like armor, insisting she can handle this on her own, even when she's breaking inside. Kuvira wields hers like a weapon, negotiating, commanding, even conquering territories from a place of absolute authority and control. But beneath that surface is fear. Fear of failure, fear of helplessness, fear of not being good enough, and having this need to prove themselves. And when their paths collide, Korra sees that within Kuvira, because these are the same things that she saw in herself and is now growing from. Korra doesn't see this evil dictator. She sees this scared girl desperately trying to hold her world together, trying to prove that she's good enough. And that's how she's able to beat Kuvira, through understanding where she's coming from, but still having the strength to stand up and bring her down, but not take her out. Because all Kuvira needed was somebody to slap some sense into her and make her realize what she is doing was wrong. Season 4 is the culmination of Korra's journey, from a symbol of strength to a symbol of empathy. She learns that being the Avatar isn't about being perfect and being strong for the world the entire time. It's not simply just beating the bad guys, but it's about understanding them and where they're coming from, finding a balance in a complex and developing world. Through Kuvira, we see how the same strength that lifts you up can also break you if it isn't grounded in humility. Humility that Korra had to learn through suffering. Korra didn't just save the world, she saved herself, and in doing so, she gave the world a new kind of Avatar, one who understands that balance isn't simply perfection, it's acceptance, it's understanding, and it's growth.
The world was descending into chaos while you were gone.
People used to think I was unstoppable, but now they don't think I'm capable of anything.
Your problem is you've been disconnected for too long. Disconnected from the people who love you, and disconnected from yourself.
For 15 years, the Legend of Korra has been long since criticized, overshadowed by the legacy of Last Airbender. It's been misunderstood as this absolute mess of a show that the writers just made out of obligation and to try and cash a check. Korra being seen as this Mary Sue character who gets everything without any effort and no suffering whatsoever, in comparison to Aang, who's had to grind this out since day one. But all of this ignores her actual story. Korra's story is not about perfection. It's not about her being the best Avatar ever. It's about her being human in a world that expected her to be something more. It's the story of a prodigy raised to believe she was invincible, only to find out that she isn't, and to be humbled again and again and again by pain, loss, and failure, only to finally crawl out of it, to see through her suffering and learn from it. She finds her strength, not the brute force of a fighter, but the calm strength and resilience of somebody who has learned, who has grown, who forgives, and who gives people chances. Korra stepped out of Aang's shadow not by imitating him or trying to surpass him. She stepped out of that shadow by doing her own thing, by growing into her own person. A bridge between tradition and progress, somebody with the strength to face the world and its problems, but with the resilience to let the world solve its problems and learn from these situations, as she has. And that's what makes The Legend of Korra so important. It's not just a sequel. It's rebuilding the idea of the Avatar. It's an impactful, deeply human story about identity, legacy, growth. And it's not just a follow-up to greatness, but it's a legend in its own regards. I want to thank you guys for watching, and not just this video, but the entire Avatar RetroViews as a whole. I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, because after 2 long years, the story of the Avatars have come to an end. For now, of course. This retro view and this entire run of this series has honestly amplified my love for this series as a whole, and has given me so many different aspects to look at the Avatar world from, and the stories of Aang and Korra, what they truly mean, and all the different elements that have played into this. It's reignited my love for this franchise that I honestly have not felt since I was a kid. And I want to keep this train going. So even though the Avatar Retro View has come to an end, we're not done with this yet. Sage's Avatar saga is not over. And I promise you this, there will be more to come. And if y'all are excited for that, be sure to hit that sub button down below to check out more of my stuff and always be on alert, because I'm back in this business, baby. I'm back in this shit. And if y'all enjoyed this video, this deep dive into Avatar Korra's journey, be sure to hit that like button and hit me up down in the comments below and let me know what were y'all's favorite memories of the Legend of Korra. But for now, I must bid you all adieu. So goodbye. Mwah! Good night. Sage out.